In this video, I'm going to show you how to use value blocks. Value blocks are a special kind of data blocks which allows you to use increment and decrement operations. This is very similar to either you take away the money or top up the money on a travel card or any kind of discount cards. So this time I'm going to use a key fob. So I'm going to give a key fob and click on a select. The first thing I do always is check what's in the RFID card. So go to the dump tab and say key A and go. So as you can see here, the green light is flashing. So there is a communication going on between this software and the program in Arduino. Okay, as you can see here, this data has the default values with all the keys as FFF and all the data values are 0. Go back to the operations tab. This time we are going to use say sector 2 and block 0. Assume that we have agreed to use this as a value block. So in order to create a value block, you have to follow some predefined steps. The first step is you have to write the value block data in a different format. To do that, you can use this the second right button. I'm going to create a value block with a default value as 100. Say write, and when you try to read it, as you can see, you get something here 64. I know it's a hex equivalent of 100, but all of the values are completely random. So if you want to know what these value blocks and structure of the value block, please see my other videos. So this is the first step. The second step is we have to set the access rights of this block to something different. As you can see here, all data blocks have a default access rights as 000. I have to set this to 6. I know this very well. So change. So second step is done. The third step is, in order to use the decrement and increment operations, you have to use the key B. So in order to use the key B, we have to set the sector trial and change the access rights so that key B is no more readable. So I know that can be done using by setting the access rights for sector trial as 3011. So change. So from this point on, we are able to use this value block and use this increment decrement operations. So go back and say authenticate. So read. Okay, I know that the value block is in block 0. Read. So I know that this block 0 has got access rights of 110, which is also a value block. So I have enabled this value block section. So but in order to do any decrement and increment operations, you have to authenticate this sector 2 with key B. So we'll do that first. Authenticate. So then read it. So as you can see here, the very first byte is 64. So let's try to read the value block, the value in this value block. Read, you get 100. Let's try to do some operations. Assume that I want to top up 10. So the way we do that is, first you have to increment it. Click on increment. Then you have to transfer it. Transfer. So after this, if you go back and read again, you get 110 here. If you want to see the raw data, click the read button. It says 6C, which is 110. So likewise, let us also do a decrement operations. Say I want to take away 50 points or 50 credits from 110. So enter 50 here. Click on decrement. So it's a decrement by 50. OK, and transfer it. So the reason why we have to click on transfer here is, any decrement or increment done inside this RFID card, the result is stored in a temporary location. So by clicking the transfer, you're transferring back to the original place. The restore operation is something which we can use to copy the value block from value from one value block to another. So let's go. You can see the 6C. Next, I'm going to show you what happens if we do some mistakes. Say, for example, assume that I authenticate using key A and I try to do some value block operations here. So read I can read, it's no problem, because if you see here, if I have a closer look at this 110, that's the current access rights of block, it says read operations can be done using either key A or key B. The write operation is done only by key B. Increment only by key B. When I say only by key B, it means you must authenticate using key B. But right now I've authenticated with key A. Let us try to increment with something, some number 10. So increment is similar to adding up or topping up the currency. So try to increment. So you get an error message. So increment failed, and this is the message you get from the RFID card. It says Mifare pick respond NIK. So when these things happens, okay, you will have the red light on the box. As you can see, the red light. So what do we do? So probably you can either stop and start again, or you can try to re-authenticate. So authenticate. So if something like this happens, that means the only way to come out of this the red light is to stop and start again. So everything is back in normal. So authenticate, read. So this time let's go and top up with the 1000 credits with increment. Done. And if you try to read here, you still get 60. The reason is I've just incremented. The result of the increment is in a temporary place, which after I click transfer, it is transferred now. Now if you try to read it, it becomes 1060. Okay, so this is how the value block is used. And if you want to know everything in detail, please see my other videos. So now I'm going to show you how to reverse this entire process. So we are in a state where the block 0 is a value block, and the key B was used to do increment and decrement operations. So we just have to follow these steps in reverse. So the first thing we are going to do is I'm going to change the access rights of the sector trial back to 001, which is the factory settings. So from this point on, I have to use the key A, activate with key A. Then go to this block 0, which was set for access condition 110. So first I'm going to make it as a default, which is 0, change. Then I have to reset this to, I'm going to clear these values, right? So that's it. So we're back on the default condition. To check if it's fine, go and get again the entire dump. So next thing I'm going to show you is what happens when we do something wrong, say where the key is wrong or the authentication is wrong, and how to come out of that. Okay, so looks like if you look at these access rights, you've got 0001, that's the default access condition for sector trial. So go back to the operations here, just go back to the sector. We know that the sector 0 block 0 is a manufacturer's block. Let us try to write, but we cannot write change the value of this manufacturer block, even though the access right says it's 001 000. You can't change it. So let's try to change this to make this as clear it, okay, and try to write. So it says write failed, and this is the actual message we received from RFID. Mifare Classic respond NAK. So in these type of things, after this nothing works, even authentication works, nothing works, because that is how the RFID cards behave. So to do that, you have to stop it and select again. So back to normal again.